Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture what we are going to learn is that how to actually go ahead, get the data from the database and display that data into our web page. So if you go back to the site, as you could see, this thing right here is the books homepage, and it only has static content. That is, it only has this HTML which we have typed in the program. Now the next thing which you need to learn is that how to actually display the set of books which are available in the database on this page right here. So for that, the first thing which you need to do is that you need to go to the views.py file, because this is the file which is responsible for deciding what is to be shown to the user. So in this file, as we are talking about the books homepage, so in this case we will be dealing with the index function right here. So as you could see right now, this index function simply returns this plain HTML right here. So what we need to do here is that we actually need to connect to the database, and after connecting to the database we need to get the information from it. So as you all know that in the Python shell, to get each and every book value, we have typed something like book.objects.all. So here you could do the same. So to get all the book objects, you could type book.objects.all, and that is basically going to give you all the books which are present inside the database. But as you could see, this thing shows us an error because we need to actually import the books before we could use it. So here we type in from .models import, and that is going to import the book. Now once this thing is imported, what you need to do is that you need to save this book. So we save that in a variable which is called as all_books. So what this thing actually does is that it takes all the book objects and it is going to save it into the all books variable. So once we are done with this, the next thing which you need to do is that, as ultimately this function is going to return an HTML, and that HTML is obviously not going to be a single line long. So you need to replace this thing with a variable called HTML. And here we will define that variable. So for now we will leave it blank. And now once we have this HTML, the next thing which we do is that we actually need to put up all these books inside that HTML. So right now we have a list of books. Now we need to separate that list into multiple small things. So in order to do that, that is to loop through each and every book, we use a for loop. So you type in for, and let's take a simple variable called as books. So we type for books in all books. So this will basically give you access to each and every book, or you could simply type in for book in all books. So this is the simple for loop, and inside this for loop what we need to do is that as we want to display each and every book, you actually need to have the URL of the book. So you also need to define what happens when you click on a particular book name. So you also define a URL variable here. So obviously when a user clicks on a particular book, he should be redirected to a URL which looks something like this. So that URL should look like /books, and again it should have a slash here, and after the slash it should actually have a string which contains the book ID. So you could type in str, and you could type in the book ID here. So you could type in book.id. So we are basically extracting the ID of each and every book. The book which we are using here is this book. That is nothing but a single book from all the possible list of books. So after this, after typing in the book ID, you also need to include a slash at the end. So this is the URL which we are expecting for each and every book right here. So for the first book, you will have a URL like books/1. For the second one, you could have a URL like books/2, so on and so forth. So once you have defined the URL, now you need to define what kind of HTML do you want to display. So you need to type in HTML plus equals, and after this, as you want to display all the books as a link, you simply type in ahref. So you type in ahref, and to this you need to pass in the link. So that link is obviously going to be this URL right here. So you specify that URL in double quotes, and inside it within single quotes in between two plus signs, you could simply type in URL. So this URL is going to be here, which is going to be URL of this HTML right here. So after this, you could go ahead right here and close up your tag, and once your tag is closed, you could also display some elements like the book name. So to display the book name, you could type in str, and to this str, as you wanted to display the book name, so you type book dot name. So that is going to display out the name of the book. And finally, we need to close the a tag, so we type in /a in single quotes. And also, after displaying each and every book, you need to have a line break so that each and every book is displayed on a different line. So you give a br tag over here, and that is going to complete your HTML. So once you are done with this, you are pretty much good to go. So now you could simply save the code, and hopefully this thing should not have any errors. So after doing that, you need to open up your web browser, and when you refresh this page right here, as you could see, now the two books are listed, which is Life and Happiness. So if you click on Life, it is going to take you to this page which says details for book ID 1, because the Life book has the ID 1. And if you click on Happiness, as you could see, it says details for book ID 2. And that is because this book actually has an ID of 2, hence we get the page which says details for book ID 2. So we have successfully extracted the data from the database, and we have displayed that data on the web page. So that is how you actually do it. So what we actually did is that we went on to the views, and in the views we have extracted all the objects by typing book.objects.all. We have saved them in this thing right here, that is in all books. So once we have this list, we have iterated through that list by using a for loop, and we have extracted the book name from each and every book, and we have actually made a custom URL for each and every book, so that whenever the user clicks on that particular URL, which is nothing but this, he will be redirected to a new page. So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys were able to understand how to extract data from database and how to actually display that on a page. And also we have basically linked in a URL with that particular element as well, so that when the user clicks on that particular element, he will be redirected to the details page of that particular book. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.